Hey everyone, it is Mike Menino, and I just wanted to jump on for our Wednesday quick training. I thought it'd be really cool to do this every single Wednesday if I answer your questions that I often get. I get like hundreds of messages every single day, like, Mike, can you teach me how to buy, fix, and flip houses? And this is one I actually put a presentation together for you guys today. And the question I always get is like, Mike, which type of houses should I fix and flip? Right. There's a tons of different houses, right? You got like mansions and you got like the $400,000 houses and then the first time home buyer homes. So, like, which ones, if I'm a brand new fix and flipper, should I be looking at, or even an experienced fix and flipper, should I be looking at to buy? So, I'm going to show you guys the number one type of house that has made us the most money out of any type of flip that we've ever done. This is like where all the money's made right here. So I'm going to show you guys the type of houses we buy. And then the type of houses we do not buy that we run away from, right? Because those are the ones that you can actually lose a ton of money on. And right now, where we're at in the economy is a perfect example of why to avoid those types of houses. So, you guys ready? Okay, cool. So, give me a second. I'm going to do a screen share and let me pull this up. And then also put down in the comments. Are you guys watching this live? If you're watching this live, type in Team Live in the comments. Let's see. Just so I know you guys are watching this and you guys are seeing this. All right, so let me go to present, share screen. All right, you guys can see my screen? Perfect. All right, so the type of houses I buy and why. All right, so this is the number one type of house that we buy in our fix and flip company, and is the first time home buyer houses. These are the ones that have the most buyers and have the least amount of risk and overhead when you are fixing and flipping houses. Does that make sense? So, for example, this house right here, this is the cookie cutter Team Live. Team Live, I love it. Put more in the Facebook. I love it. Let's see who can win, Facebook or YouTube or Instagram. We're streaming everywhere right now. But right here is a perfect example. This house is a 3-bed, 2-bath house with a 2-car garage, right? This is the type of house that like everyone is looking for. There's multiple buyers looking for this house. Like, we call this the first time home buyer house because everyone who's coming out of an apartment building, like they live in a 1980s apartment building and they're buying the first house, like this is the type of house they're looking for, right? And then we even have people who downsize and then they buy these type of houses. So, their kids moved out of the house and they have this like 3,000 square foot house. They no longer need this house. So now they're going to move into a 1,600 square foot house and, reduce their overhead. I've had people who are out of state landlords buy these houses as renters or for renters. So they can, the day they buy this house, they can put it on Zillow and say, hey, for rent, it's a brand new, already rehabbed house, and they can start cash flowing. Right. And then I've even had friends that even buy these houses for their for their family members to put them into, affordable housing. So with these types of houses, we have tons and tons of buyers looking for these houses. And then also the nice thing is no builders are building these houses anymore because they're too expensive to build. If you notice, the only type of houses that builders are building are like over 2,500 square foot homes and bigger, right? And they're really expensive. They start at like $500,000 and then they go up. This one, like in the Midwest, is like in the mid $200,000 range. So those are some of the reasons why we love these type of houses, and I'm going to go through them as well. All right, like I said, there's a lot more buyers looking for a 1,200 square foot, 3-bed, 2-bath house with a garage than those large, expensive houses, right? In the Midwest, a $200,000 rehabbed house sells for a lot quicker than a $500,000 house. These types of houses in the past, we've only had them for like a week or two, and then they're already sold. Typically anything in the Midwest, 500,000 or above, it could take over 30, 45, even 6 months, 30, 45 days on the quick end, and then even as long as 6 months. So then if you bought this house and you rehabbed it, and then you got it for sale, and then you're waiting 6 months to sell the property, you have 6 months of mortgage payments, non-homestead property taxes, lawn and snow. You have energy bills. You have all those expenses just piling up, right? Versus our little houses, the expenses are way less, and we don't have them as long. We usually typically have these houses for sale less than 30 days, right? So here's like what our buy boxes. These are the type of houses we look for. We look for the 1,000 to 1,600 square foot houses with either a basement or a garage. Should have at least one of these. If it has both, then even better, because even more people, love basements and a garage, right? And then, P.S. Stay away from quirky layouts. You know, there's always a problem to sell them. Trust me, like ask me how I know. That's one of my mentors, what he says. Ask me how I know. Right. Like the quirky layout houses, they could be cheap or whatever if you buy them. But the issue is selling them. Whenever you have to walk in through a bedroom or the living room or kitchen doesn't make sense. And it's just like a weird layout and it's not functional. It's really cut up a lot of smaller rooms. Just stay away from those type of houses. I actually had a house. It didn't have a basement, didn't have a garage. It was 2,200 square feet, and there was no living room on the first floor. The living room was on the second floor. Do you think that took a while to sell this house? Of course it did, right? It's like no basement, no garage, and the living room was upstairs. It was like really weird layout, and it took us forever to sell this house. So I swore off flipping these houses. Are you guys? Does this make sense? Are you guys getting value from this? Type in the comments, yes, if this makes sense. Yes, I'm getting value from this. Mike, you're amazing. And then also too, we do have free resources on our Real Estate Wealth Builders website. Actually, just redesigned it. So if you go to the rewbuilders.com, we do have free trainings on how to buy, fix, and flip houses, how to wholesale apartment buildings and make $175,000 with none of your own money. And then we also do have like mentorships available as well. Yes, been there, done that. LOL. Yes, I have too. And trust me, it took me a few times for me to learn my lesson about not buying quirky houses. So don't feel so bad. All right. And like I said, all the reasons to buy, to do these types of houses and stay away from the other ones is that there's a lot of first time home buyers, right? People downsizing, landlords who want to rent these out and purchase for family members. So we've bought, fixed, and flipped nearly 100 houses at this point, and these are all the different buyers who have personally bought our houses. So like, I know who they are, right? And the first time home buyers, they probably account for 90% of our buyers. It's pretty interesting. Like 90% of the buyers love these first time home buyer homes, these smaller homes. And so yeah. So let's see what else we got. And like I was saying too, with the holding costs, it's way more expensive to have $1 million home that you're paying non-homestead property taxes and this crazy big mortgage. Those expenses can actually eat you alive, and you can lose a ton of money. I have friends, they've tried the luxury flips and they've actually lost a ton of money because all of those expenses add up. And another thing too is the buyers are way more picky in those price brackets. If you're buying $1 million house, if you don't like it because this one wall is like maybe a light green and you're like, I don't like it, I'm not buying this house, right? You're like, oh, wait, no, I can paint it. Don't worry, I can paint the wall and make it look nice. Versus like our little houses, if they don't like even the layout or the colors or whatever, it's not their favorite. They're like, hey, you know what? It's functional. I'm getting out of my 1980s apartment. This is way better, right? This is like a brand new house and I can afford it inside of my budget. I have a very little budget, right? These $1 million buyers, you got to pick the different types of tiles that they like. Because if you pick a boho theme and they want contemporary, you pick contemporary and they like industrial or farmhouse, all these different themes. Those are reasons for them not to buy your house. Does that make sense? Type in yes if that makes sense. All right. And then non-homestead property taxes, those are way more expensive in these $1 million price brackets. I mean, $1 million in Michigan, if you have a property and you're not paying it's not your primary residence, the property taxes are about like $36,000 per year. It's insane. That's $3,000 a month just in overhead of just property taxes, not including the mortgage, not including heating the property and maintenance and all of those. All those expenses really add up. versus our little houses that we buy. We typically buy them for 100, 150,000, and then sell them for the 250 range. The property taxes are about like, 2,500 bucks for the entire year. So it's like 200 bucks a month, right? Instead of $3,000 a month. So you can kind of see like it reduces the overhead and the risk as well, right? I would rather have 10 $100,000 homes than one $1 million home. And again, the when pricing falls, like what we've been experiencing for the last year, pricing was skyrocketing for the last few years. Now it's starting to, go like slow down, or even in some markets, like in San Francisco, they've had, I think, 12% price adjustment across the board. And that's one of the most expensive markets in the country. And there you go. Right. And when prices fall, like these $1 million homes, they might not sell for $1 million anymore. They might sell for 800 or 750,000. These $200,000 homes, they don't fall that much, right? Because where else are you going to go? You got $200,000 house, it might fall to 190,000, something very small. Because with the price of rents going up, you're either going to pay, your rents have either doubled, or you're going to pay a little bit more, for the mortgage payment, right? And people would rather own than rent. Sound good? All right, is this good so far? Is this good stuff? Should I stop? You want me to stop, or should I keep going? Let me know in the comments. All right, keep going. All right, I'll go for a few more slides. All right. So example, the mortgage too as well. So let's say we're into a house for $150,000. Good stuff. Okay, good. And let's say we borrowed the whole $150,000, right? So that's like the purchase price. Let's say we bought it for 100 and we put 50,000 to the renovations. The mortgage with that at 10% interest would be $1,250 a month in interest only payments, right? Because we're getting what's called like hard money, or getting private money. It's more expensive than what a bank charge when you see that 10%. Versus, let's say we were into a house for $500,000. We're hoping to sell it for 700, and we borrowed everything at 10% interest. Interest only payments are $4,166 per month just for the interest payments alone, not including the property taxes, which would, on this one, probably be about $20,000 a year, which you're looking at, again, another $1,800 a month on top of that. So this house is going to cost you about, let's say, almost $6,000 a month in expenses. And if you were to go rent this property, you think you could rent a $500,000 house for $6,000? No, of course not, right? This thing would probably only rent for like $2,500, maybe $3,000 tops, right? So you actually lose money if you decide to rent this house. So what we do is always like mitigate risk, and by doing that is always looking for an exit strategy. You always want to have multiple exit strategies. So in case your fix and flip plan doesn't work out, and if you have to hold it as a rental, you want to make sure you're not going to lose money as a rental. So with all of our fix and flips, if we had to keep them as rentals, we would break even or actually make money renting them out. And that is adding another exit strategy for our business, so that we don't get burned. Because if you just had a bunch of these luxury these flips, and then the market shifts, you can't sell them, and you can't even rent them out, then you're kind of in trouble, right? Does that make sense? Like, you can't sell them, for what you thought, and you can't, rent them out profitably, or you're going to lose a couple $1,000s per month per house. That adds up really quick, right? All right. So I just want to jump on for a few minutes today. Thank you guys so much for, being active in the comments. I just want to jump on and just kind of share, like, hey, what type of houses do we buy in our fix and flip business? Which model works for us, and what I always recommend for our coaching students to start off with as well. And again, you can go to our website, rewbuilders.com, for we got free trainings, mentorship on how to buy, fix, and flip houses. You can schedule a call with our team and see if you'd be a good fit. We will interview you. We do not accept everyone inside of our mentorship programs, because you're going to be working with me one-on-one, and I have to make sure I'm going to like you, right? So if I'm going to spend a lot of time with you, I really have to make sure that we vibe together, because if not, we won't accept you as a student. All right, guys. Thank you so much for joining. And then again, put in the comments. I love this. Like, hey, any other questions you have, and then maybe I will share my opinion on it next week and make some slides for you and just kind of add value to you guys as much as humanly possible. Sound good? All right, guys. Enjoy your Wednesday. I got some work to do, and I'll see you guys soon.